problem is, though, they think every bump in the night, every shadow they see on the wall, every kid that happens to scream in the alley because some kid took their pillowcase full of all their candy, everything has to do with you-know-who.
I thought they didn't find his body. I think I'm going to tell her the same thing that I say every year. It's Halloween. Everyone's entitled to one good scare.
Gentlemen, the time has come once again to discuss things.
Yeah, just get my exhausted. On that note, hi everyone, welcome to another episode of Geeky Gentlemen. I am Sid Partu. Joining me today is the one, the only, the Rasco of Rasco's Modern Life.
Ka-chow!
Ka-chow, indeed. Rasco, we're here today to continue our series of fan project reviews, mostly fan films, but you know, we're widening that out a little bit. What are we reviewing today?
Halloween, the night he came back, fan film the movie.
A lot of these fan films have really wordy titles.
Yeah, I think it's just so they can, I think it's just so people find it easier when they search things. Like if you type in like Halloween, the movie, this will pop up because it has the movie in the title.
I guess, I don't know. I'm sure that if I look through the comments on this video, I'd find a bunch of people saying, fake! It's not the real movie. It always amazes me when people do shit like that. But yeah, this was an interesting choice. So I'll start out being the big controversial opinion here. I don't like Halloween, the series of films. And so this felt very accurate to Halloween, and that's probably why I didn't enjoy it.
I only like 2 Halloween movies. I like the first Halloween, and I like the remake of Halloween.
Yeah? How'd you feel about this, then?
I thought that more or less what I found is that if you like Halloween, then there are a lot of things about this that are pretty cool and kind of charming about it. If you don't like Halloween, this is, like, in no way going to convince you.
Yeah, like, that's the thing, is I can see the love for this. I can see the love, the devotion in it. And I do think it has things that, like, just aside from being a fan project, are objectively good. Like, we talked a lot about location scouting during the Teen Titans fan film review. This has phenomenal location shooting.
Yes.
For a fan film.
Absolutely, yeah.
Like, I'm sure that they didn't fly out to the Walk of Fame to get a shot of, what's her name's, Hollywood star. Like, specifically for this.
Yeah.
I feel like they were out there and they decided to shoot something and add it to the script. But it works really well because of that.
Yeah, it's interesting. I could see them possibly actually doing that just for the shot. It depends on like the purpose of this fan film, which is something that I wanted to talk about because I think that this I'm pretty sure the director's name is Dave McRae because that's the name of the YouTube channel. And I'm pretty sure that this is somebody who's not just like a fan of Halloween and wanted to make a movie. I think that this is someone that's like a fan of movies in general and really likes Halloween and kind of wanted to demonstrate some skill because I feel like this is put together in such a competent way where it really feels like a film fan first and someone who likes Halloween second. Not that they don't love Halloween, but like it really feels like this was somebody trying to like make something that would be pretty impressive if they put it on like a film reel. It's to me, I wouldn't put it past them to have actually flown out there specifically for that purpose. But
that's impressive then, because it's just like seeing the shots at the airport, and it's such like a simple trick. I'm reasonably confident I know how they got that amazing tracking shot of the airport.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure they just like put their tripod or maybe just their camera on one of the little Jetsons moving walkway things.
Something like that.
Yeah, it's so simple, it's so basic, but it looks great in a fan film because to get smooth photography like that in a fan film is usually really hard to do.
Yeah.
Maybe it's just me because as I was talking about before we started recording, but I am a bit beat after work today. As well shot as a lot of this is, I did find myself kind of drifting, like, right on the edge of sleep watching it every so often because a lot of it's just really stale. It's like location shot, long, lingering location shot. It's not that it's a bad shot. It's a good shot. I don't mind lingering on a good shot. But, like, this is a 40-minute fan film. I feel like you can easily cut this down to, I'm going to say 25 to 30 minutes.
You probably could. And I think what's interesting about that is maybe this is where there's maybe a little bit of a conflict when it comes to trying to like recreate something, like recreating atmosphere from a movie like Halloween, where Halloween is a really simple movie. And if you were just to explain to somebody, it doesn't sound very good. It just sounds like a very typical movie. But it's like when you watch it, it's kind of like you just need to experience the way the story is told, like the way that John Carpenter tells a story and the kind of atmosphere that he builds and how music is used. And that's all there. But once you've seen it in Halloween, it's not like you really need to see it again in a sequel to Halloween or in a fan film necessarily. It's at that point, it does seem like that makes it very much kind of meant for fans in that way, where if you would like to see someone else attempt that, this is for you. If you don't really care enough to watch or have that kind of Halloween experience a second time, then I could see why like this really doesn't do much for you at that point, because Halloween is very much kind of like a ride. As much as it is a very simple story, it's very much kind of like you have to be with the movie. It's hard to reflect on Halloween and think about how great it is. It's easier to sit and watch Halloween and be like, oh, wow, I really like the atmosphere that this movie builds.
And that's fair, and I will agree that this has a certain level of atmosphere, and it makes it all the more impressive when, Michael Myers just seems to, like, appear out of nowhere in really fascinating ways. He just kind of materializes from the background a lot of the times. Yeah. And that looks really cool, and so just having those long, stable shots really helps sell that and make it happen. But at the same time, when I'm watching it, I'm just like trying to, keep my head up, stay awake, and I'm like, this is really slowly paced. And then there's just other odd stuff about it that, like, it sounds like they thought it through, but not really. And I'll grant you, yeah, Michael Myers and Jason and all those movie slasher guys get shot to hell and stabbed and all this other crap, and yet they get up and keep walking. Mm-hmm. This movie is set 40 years after the original events of Halloween.
Yeah.
So Michael Myers is at least in his 60s.
Yeah.
That's ridiculous.
Yeah, it's actually hilarious. It's like so funny, dude. Like the lengths that they go to like later on rationalize that in certain like slasher movies is hilarious. Like in Jason X, they're like Jason's unique ability to regrow lost and damaged tissue makes him a amazing specimen. It's like when has he ever had those abilities? He's not Wolverine, and I kind of feel like they had to kind of do that with Michael Myers. It's somewhat believable because he's wearing a mask, so you could like, I guess he could be that old. I don't know. But what I don't really like about this is the ending and some of the implications of the ending.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know how. Like, I just think in general, my least favorite part about this is just the end. Actually.
Well, why?
Okay. One, I think that I for one, it's not very satisfying to me personally. It kind of feels like one of those things where they had a movie all the way up until the end and they didn't really know how to end it, and they didn't end it horribly, but they didn't really have a definitive like oomphy kind of punchy ending, which isn't necessarily required. But I feel like this take on Michael Myers, I'm not sure exactly what this Michael is, because depending on what Michael you're watching, there's different things about Michael. So if you're watching the Rob Zombie Halloween, Michael is just a dude until he's randomly not. He's now paranormal in the second Rob Zombie movie, but that movie's not good. The first movie, though, he's just a dude. But in the original Halloween, it was kind of like the anti just a dude with a knife, where it's almost like when you see Michael Myers, he's not just a guy. He is like Michael Myers and the black fog that you see rolling in behind him. That's him. He's like this entity, right? And that's why he can pop up different places and do all these crazy things, because he's like this bigger than life force. And I don't know exactly which Michael this is, because he does the very classic Halloween kind of teleporty stuff, and then the end is maybe kind of, I don't know. I don't know.
Yeah, it is weird because like they shoot him a number of times. He falls down the thing, and they appear to be looking at him the whole time he's down there. But then like they blink and he's just gone. Mm-hmm. And so that is weird at the end. And like he does the teleports other times, but not in ways that feel like he couldn't have just dashed off screen real quick, right? Mm-hmm. The only other time that I think is like a little too unbelievable is with the cop car. That scene was like, okay, so somehow he got into the back of the cop car without the cop noticing. Fair enough. But at the same time, like, don't cop cars, aren't they like specifically designed so you can't do shit like that? Like attack the cop?
I don't know.
At least the cop cars I've been in the back of, that's what it's like. So
yeah, I know. Yeah. It's typically there's like a glass thing there in case like you're gonna like spit on the cop or something. You can't do it.
Yeah.
I don't know. Maybe was that a real cop car? Because
it looked legit enough.
Yeah, because that's the thing. I think it's actually a real cop car. It might be like one of those not like the it might be like a local, like sometimes areas will have like police that are only in like a specific like neighborhood almost, and they're not just
maybe
neighborhood
what
watch.
they did, like the movie that fan series I always like to talk about is the Joker blogs, and like I remember at one point they had this point in the story where they're like driving past cop cars in a police station and stuff, and like people in the cop was like, oh my god, how'd you fight cop cars? They're like, we just drove around all night till we found a cop car and then shot footage next to it.
Yeah.
And like, so what it might be is they might have just shot the exterior of a cop car at one point and then shot the inside of an actual car. It's really hard to tell with some of that stuff though. Like it's so dark, it could easily go either way, which is like a little disappointing because it means that they either didn't fully use their resource to prove, hey, we got an actual cop car, or they shot around it and kind of created like a thing that contradicts the idea that they got an actual cop car.
Yeah.
One of those two.
Yeah. Yeah. We're talking a lot about this cop car, but yeah.
Sorry, it's just I don't know. I find that kind of stuff interesting because the stuff I'm impressed by is the location, is just the production side of this. If you ask me about the story, I'm like, there is a story. I don't think it's like a particularly good one. It's not awful. It's just kind of present.
Yeah. I agree.
And like that's fine, honestly. You don't need like this is why horror is a really attractive genre for super low budget filmmaking and fan films, is because you don't need like a really complicated story. You don't need a budget or certain things to just be able to do a really basic fan film for a horror thing, or just any kind of film. Like Paranormal Activity is not a big budget movie. It's about the easiest set of visual effects you can do in a movie, and they just make it all found footage and kind of throw it all together. That's why horror is attractive, because it can be cheap.
Yeah.
So what I'm impressed by here is, even though this is a fan-funded kind of thing, they still do things that make it feel like, hey, this could be in an actual movie.
Yeah. And things like little things like this, like it's just a cool thing that this was actually, shot in part on locations using some of like the actual same like locations from the original Halloween.
Yeah, I didn't realize that.
Yeah.
That's pretty cool. Huh.
That's really cool.
Like, how did they do that then?
I don't know.
Well, I guess the original Halloween was pretty low budget too, so
Yeah,
they just
they-
kind of went back to the same neighborhood.
Yeah, I guess. But interesting, yeah, that's probably literally what happened. That's cool though. That's cool.
Yeah, that's super commendable. Really incredibly impressive. It's been way too long since I've watched the original Halloween to be able to catch stuff like that, but I'll take your word for it, Rasco.
Yeah, I think look in the description. I think they say it in the description as well. It says The Night He Came Back is the first Halloween fan film to have been shot in part on location in Pasadena, California, using some of the same filming locations from the original Halloween.
Oh wow. That's really cool.
That's awesome, actually.
That is very commendable that they went to that extra effort to make it feel blended. To that point, though, so, like, it's already kind of weird that this is 40 years after Halloween, but, like, why is Michael Myers going after this girl and her family?
I forget.
They, like, mention stuff about, like, oh, it's time he tell her. And I'm like, tell her what? We don't really get much of a resolution by the end of this.
Yeah, wasn't okay. And there was also the thing about, like, they were talking about the guy. They're like, have you seen that? Oh man, I can't remember what it was. There was something that, like, some guy was on the phone and someone was talking to him, and they were asking them if he had, like, heard from this one person or noticed something about this one person or something like that. And I think it was I forget exactly what, but, like, I don't remember what that was about. I think that we're missing something here. Like, the person who's Michael Myers might not actually be Michael Myers, or like some person. I don't know. I'm confused.
Well, like, the implication I got is the phone call was about someone who survived the original Michael Myers attack. Which, okay, sure, whatever. But, and I think that's the guy who's, like, in his car at the beginning of the movie.
Uh-huh.
And then,
Oh yeah.
if that's him, what connection does he have to this girl and her older brother? That's what I don't understand. Like, how are they connected? Because that guy looks old enough to maybe have been pretty young and possibly a character that's in the original Halloween, but you cannot convince me that these two are, if it's supposed to be 40 years.
Yeah.
These two are in their 30s tops, right?
Yeah. Like, they're not 40. So.
Yeah. So, like, what connection does Michael Myers have to them? Why is Michael Myers going after them? And I'm sure there's an explanation, and they didn't want to just come out and say it. But maybe it was too subtle for me to catch on with exactly what it was supposed to be.
Yeah, maybe there's some detail in Halloween 2 or something that I'm just not thinking of because I just, like...
Yeah, no, I saw in the description it says, like, this takes place after the events of Halloween 2.
Yeah.
And I'm like, okay. I'm confused. What'd you think of the acting in this, though?
I thought it was pretty good, and I thought it was not great. Certain people were better in certain scenes, but there were a few times where I thought like the acting was good, but also what was good was like the dialogue in conjunction with the editing. Like in that one scene where the two cops I think they're the two cops, and they're just talking about like it's like every year on Halloween, you know, people call and they're like, oh my God, it's Michael Myers or whatever. And it's like, no, it's Halloween. Things happen on Halloween. Like that scene was actually edited very well. And I imagine that they put that entire scene together just using one camera. I don't know. I have no reason to assume that other than I just feel like that's probably how that scene was shot. And the thing is, like, I know that there are at least 3 different angles in that scene. So that means they probably like filmed it a few different takes, the camera on one person, then they had to splice that together, and that can be really difficult sometimes. I don't know. I thought that scene was pretty good. It's not really about the acting as much as it is about like the editing, but I thought the acting in this was serviceable.
Yeah, that's pretty much how I felt too, is that overall the actors did an okay job with, you know, just... They're not, like, selling me 100% on the situation, but they're selling me enough that they're not distracting from what's going on. So I thought that was pretty good. There were some flat takes, though, here and there, like, particularly from... I guess it's weird that the main character, the girl, is also wanting to be an actress in this. And is probably one of the weaker actresses in this.
I don't know. I don't know if it's weird that she wants to be an actress.
Well, I found it odd because I thought the actress had a weaker performance compared to some of the other characters. Maybe it's just because we saw more of her, but yet her character wants to be an actress. I thought that was kind of odd because, like, she's just doing, you know, flatter acting here, and so I'm like, well, I guess that audition didn't go very well. That's probably a little too mean, but I don't know.
I thought she was fine. I didn't think that she was necessarily any worse or better than any of the other actors.
It was just some of the line reads for me. Some of them just like felt really weird. Like when she's on the phone after having just locked the apartment door, like the subject changes, and it's not that it's necessarily all on her, because having that drastic a subject change during a conversation can be a little jarring and feel unnatural, but it felt even more heightened just the way that she delivered the line with like this really awkward kind of turn. I don't know. I felt she was the most distracting out of everybody. She took me out of it more than anyone else.
Fair.
So there's that.
Yeah. I don't know. I didn't really have strong opinions about her acting in particular, or anyone's acting really. I thought that it was better than than a lot of fan films. I think in general, there are a lot of things about this are better than most fan films.
That's fair.
I kind of feel like this is across the board kind of generally above average, and in some ways really above average and actually impressive.
Definitely with the way it's shot, the location scouting and stuff like that.
Yeah.
I'm
planning, all that kind of stuff. Yeah.
Yeah. That's the production side of things are easily the most impressive. Like when Michael Myers rips through that frickin' door to choke her.
Yeah.
That's really cool. Like,
yeah.
I don't know exactly how they did that. Did they get like 2 doors and punch a hole through one? and then edit it together? Did they like make a cardboard door and have him punch through it? I don't know exactly what they did. But that's like a really good prop because he even takes the door off later on.
Yeah.
Like, just rips it right off the hinges and it looks great.
Yeah, it was really fucking cool.
You know, like, it's weird. It's a horror movie, so you expect blood and guts, and there's not a lot. So you could tell their budget didn't go to the gore side of things. Like, Michael Myers chokes everybody to death. Or stabs them off camera.
Uh-huh.
Like the couple having sex in the shower.
Uh-huh.
Like, that's the thing, though. That's a scene that, like, is almost entirely pointless. You cut the scene of Michael Myers sneaking into the bathroom and killing the couple having sex in the shower, and you lose nothing of the movie. It's not like a scene where you get to see some more gore. There's no development for the story in that scene. It is just a long scene with a lot of lingering shots and some decent sound design. So, like, from a production and directing standpoint, it looks good. But from a necessity to the film standpoint, it is completely superfluous.
How dare ye?
Yeah, I know. Everyone loves their shower sex scenes. You know, it's just, there's a lot of stuff like that where I'm like, this scene it looks good, but it doesn't need to be here. And that's weird.
Fair.
Do you have anything like that? Anything you were like, well, this wasn't like bad, but it's just unnecessary?
I don't know. I didn't have that. I think that this is kind of like, I'm kind of the audience that this is for, and I don't know. I like a lot of movies that have a lot of scenes that probably aren't really necessary. In fact, I've got one that I really want to pick for a episode of Geeky Gentleman at some point.
Oh God, what's that gonna be?
Oh, I'm not gonna tell you, but it's gonna be great. It's gonna be great.
Oh, good. Oh, yay. Rascal, I always look forward to your picks for the show.
I know. This one is it's great. I'm on a hot streak with the things I've been choosing.
Oh, God damn it. Like, when I pick stuff for the show, I'm like, man, I'm really excited to hear what everyone has to think about this. It's going to be a fun discussion. I really hope the guys like this. Rascal's like, what can I pick that Ian will hate?
Exactly. Exactly. It's fun. It creates an interesting balance to the show. You know, sometimes you get to see Ian very, very even-handed. Sometimes you get to see Ian say that things are dumpster fires.
Well, I just want to say, this is not a dumpster fire. This is just something that, like, I don't like Halloween.
Mm-hmm.
The franchise, just never something I got into. I went and watched the movie at one point. I'm like, I don't get why everyone likes this, but whatever. And so watching this, it's just like, yes, it feels very faithful to Halloween, and that's why I don't like it. So it's just like, this is the epitome of not for me. This is not something I'm going to say is bad. Though I do think it still has issues. Like, again, Michael Myers is in his 60s, and that's weird. Like, I get, it's that weird level of suspension of disbelief where, like, he already gets shot, like, hundreds of times, lit on fire, stabbed, run over with cars, drowned, whatever else. Why is it so unbelievable that he's in his 60s and still doing this? I'm like, I don't know. I know people that are that age. They don't...
Old man Michael.
Yeah, old man Michael goes on a road trip with old man Freddy across the country.
Old man Freddy, that's hilarious. That'd be awesome.
He has to keep forcing Freddy to take some medication that makes him not invade people's dreams because he's just sad.
That's awesome.
We found the fan film Rasco wants to direct.
Yeah. Old man Michael.
Oh, man. Okay, do you have anything else to say about this then?
Not really. I like it. It's nice.
Okay. You go ahead and do the rating first then.
I'm gonna give this fan film a 3.5 out of 5 Michael Myers masks.
Perfectly fair. That's what I'm going to give it to. 3.5 out of 5 arms bursting through doors. Okay. What we're going to talk about next week is going to be 2 very short fan films. They are Rick and Morty live action fan films by Blinky 500. So, I hope everyone will check those out and have a good time. Until next time, I'm the Philosopher.
And I'm the beta male cuck.
And we are your Geeky Gentlemen. And we will be discussing things.